Story 1. I spent half the year last year in hotels, most of it in one specific hotel for 1 to 2 weeks at a time. My only rule is to put the "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door as soon as I get there. I don't want anyone, including housekeeping, touching my things. Story 2. Don't be an obnoxious jerk by being loud in the hall, no matter what time it is. It's rude. Someone might be trying to sleep so that they can drive through the night, or they just got done with driving through the night. Story 3. This is for when it's time to check out. Before you leave, make sure to give the sheets a good shake to ensure you didn't accidentally leave anything on the bed. Also, check every single drawer or storage space in the room, even if you didn't use it. I've never actually left anything behind, but I always feel like I'm forgetting something, so I check everything to make sure I didn't actually do so. Story 4. When I was a kid, my family stayed in hotels on vacation only once every other year or so. My parents took one of the drawers in the room and filled it with all kinds of snacks. That was 40 years ago, and I always have stuff to set up a snack drawer whenever I get a room, even if it's for one night. It just feels right. Story 5. Check for bed bugs. Whatever the results, everything I own goes on a slick surface. No carpet, bedding, upholstered chair, etc. Yes, I had no vigilance until it happened to me. I got lucky with my first and only encounter with bedbugs, but it was still inconvenient on a road trip. Story 6. I make sure all trash is placed in the trash can before leaving, and I put back the ironing board, hangers, and luggage rack, and ensure towels are in a neat pile in the bathroom or right outside the hotel door. Story 7. Frequent traveler here. Pre-check-in. Book a room with 2 queen beds instead of 1 king bed, as the second bed provides additional storage space and an extra comforter and pillows if needed. For those who love to throw their luggage on the bed, this is key for you. Stop placing your luggage on the bedding that you plan to sleep on. Request a late checkout via the app or by calling the hotel front desk. Step 1. Open the hotel door and immediately place the "Do Not Disturb" sign on the handle. No need for any room servicing if my stay is under a week. If greater than 3 days, I'll request the needed items be placed in front of my door or pick them up in the lobby. More importantly, this alleviates the constant knocking and unexpected room entrances while you're on a conference call or stepping into or out of the shower. This alleviates more issues than you think, as half the hotel anxiety I hear about from travelers is about their belongings when they're not present in the room. Step 2. Check to ensure the mini fridge is working. Check to ensure the shower is working and has hot water. It sounds extreme, but you generally wouldn't notice issues with these 2 things until it's too late. Any medications or food being stored in the mini fridge would be ruined by this point, and if you have issues with your shower, whether it is no hot water, no pressure, or something else, by the time you discover it in the morning, it's too late. You're now late for your site visit or work meeting. The same applies to the iron if ironing is needed. Step 3. If you have an important work meeting in the morning, call the front desk to request a wake-up call. I can't tell you how many times my alarm doesn't sound, for whatever reason, regardless of being set. This alleviates issues here. Also, confirm your late checkout at this time. Regardless of confirming this before checking in, it somehow gets missed regularly. If you're not at the hotel at the standard checkout time, yet your belongings are still in the room, this creates quite the unnecessary chaos. It's best to ensure that this scenario is avoided altogether. Step 4. Reasonably inspect the bedding once the comforter is removed for any concerns. Step 5. Before exiting the room for checkout, untuck the bedding on the unused bed. This ensures new bedding is applied for the next guest. Housekeeping will rarely remake a bed after a guest if it appears to be untouched. That is all. Check out and repeat roughly 300 times annually. Story 8. Check for murderers everywhere when I first enter the room. Obviously, I keep this a secret and to myself because, yes, it's unhinged and pretend to ooh and ah over the space. But in reality, murderer check. Story 9. Leave the spare door key or key card on the floor by the door, so you will see it and grab it as you leave if you are evacuated for fire or earthquake. If you leave without your key, you will end up in a massive queue of people getting replacement keys at 1 a.m. Story 10. Former housekeeper here. Check for bed bugs, they can come home with you. Remove the vanity cover from the bed. Those are not washed. Avoid touching the lampshades or Bibles, as they may not be clean. Do not sit naked on any of the furniture for hygiene reasons. Tip your housekeeper each day they clean your room. Leave cash out with a nice note. Use do not disturb signs to indicate you do not want your room cleaned. Be tidy. Avoid smoking, spilling food or wine, and piling up trash. Pull all the sheets and pillowcases off of your bed before you leave, even the unused bed. Clean up any drug residue. Do not allow anything to make a mess in the room, except using the toilet properly. If time permits, always opt for a late checkout. Nothing beats being well-rested before a long drive or flight. Story 11. Check under the mattress for a body because of that one story I always heard while growing up about the couple whose room smelled very bad. And then, spoiler alert, they found a body under the mattress. Story 12. I stay in hundreds of hotels a year, mainly mid to low-end, Choice Hotels, Wyndham, and Best Western chains. Here's some advice. 1. People sleep during the day in hotels too. Act accordingly, as we have to work all night to make everything work right. Please do not come down to breakfast in socks or bare feet. This is not your house. Try not to let the door slam. Your dog usually barks the whole time you leave the poor thing alone in a strange place. Hotel walls are not that thick. Please turn the television and your voice down. Return the luggage cart. There is a special place in hell for you if you do not. Your kids are not behaving when you are not watching them. Stomping and running around is unacceptable if you are not on the first floor. Lock your car and do not leave anything you cannot replace in it. 10. You can usually get a better rate online than in person at the front desk. Story 13. Do not let the door slam. Turn the room up to a comfortable temperature until bedtime, then turn it down to a cooler setting when you go to bed. You will sleep better. Turn the shower on hot for 5 minutes and humidify the room. Hotel rooms are typically quite dry. Take binder clips to hold the curtains closed. Put a sticky note over the peephole in the door. Put a towel at the room door to reduce outside noise. If you come in after midnight and are noisy in the room next to me, you are not prepared for what my 6 a.m. routine is going to be like. Be considerate. Story 14. Last time I stayed at a hotel, I'm pretty certain the room next to me filmed adult content in it. They didn't follow the unwritten rules of keeping filming limited to noon to 6 p.m. I got back from my work to the hotel at 4 p.m. and heard some loud sex going on next door. I figured it would subside by dinner as people started turning in for the evening. No, loud activities continued until 9:45 p.m. I must have heard their door open and close about a dozen or so times. Please be quiet. I'm too polite to knock or call a noise complaint before 10 p.m. Story 15. Frequent traveler. For short stays, use the Do Not Disturb sign to prevent housekeeping in your room. Request items from reception. Check functionality upon arrival. It's a pain to discover in the morning that the shower doesn't have hot water. Always have 2 room keys. I've had to walk down again many times since the single key card didn't work. In a country where I don't speak the language, take a business card from reception, mainly for the address. Give this to the taxi driver to get back. Prefer a king bed due to my size, but the double queen is easier for luggage and logistics. Before unpacking, check the headboard and other places for bedbugs. Locate the nearest emergency outlet. I've got a few evaluations under my belt. It's useful for non-standard layouts. When leaving, place all towels in one pile in the bathroom. Open shutters, and if the trash is full, close the bag. Housekeeping has to deal with a lot, so I like to make their work a bit easier. Story 16. I don't lie on the top blanket. I only get between the sheets because someone told me they only wash the sheets. I assume there are hidden cameras in all the rooms based on every creepy movie I ever saw. I don't walk on the carpet in my bare feet because of what's probably in the rugs. I bring earplugs because I just assume the people in the next room are going to party half the night and make noise. Other than that, I just hope I get through the night without being attacked. Oh, and I don't leave anything valuable in the room when I'm gone. Story 17. I always check that everything is working as soon as I arrive in the room. That way, if it is not and they have to move me, It is a lot easier to move all my stuff and nothing accidentally gets left behind. Story 18. Don't carelessly open those heavy mirror closet doors barefoot. I took off my right toenail, had to wipe down a massive puddle of blood, and it took almost a year for it to grow back. Story 19. After finding a random pill on the floor in one room, I am now going to get down at ground level and look for pills on the floor. I do not need my kids dying because someone did not vacuum well. Story 20. At night, I shove a towel under the door. I like to sleep in a very dark room, and that strip of light is like a beacon. The towel helps muffle sounds as well. I use those clothes hangers with clips to seal the drapes tight so no light gets in. I'm Batman. Story 21. Immediately count the number of doors from my room to the nearest fire exit, so you can crawl under smoke if a fire breaks out. Hotel fires have taken countless lives over the years. People are killed by the smoke, not the flames. Story 22. Take the comforter down to the foot of the bed or remove it altogether. These are not washed as much as the sheets. Do not lay down on it. Do not put your luggage on the floor if there is one of those folding suitcase racks. Use a travel-sized disinfectant on the television remote. Do not fall for the free breakfast unless you are an early riser. They are just trying to get you out of the hotel earlier. Hang out the do not disturb sign if there is one. If someone knocks and says, housekeeping, tell them to come back at 11 in the morning or whatever your actual checkout time is. Do not feel bad taking the travel-size shampoos, conditioners, and little soaps. They do not care. They expect you to. Do not go into the minibar. Expensive as hell. If you are going to want a cocktail, buy it before you arrive. Do not use the coffee pot. People do weird things in that. But feel free to take tea packets or coffee packets with you. Make a bit of effort with any trash or recycling, even if you just cram it all into the trash, and leave all of the dirty towels in one place. The cleaners are not paid very well. Tip $4 to $5 cash on the nightstand. Story 23. Drink only from wrapped plastic cups. My buddy managed 2 hotels in the city. He said a lot of his colleagues have seen the room cleaners handling the regular glasses with gloves that had been used for cleaning toilets. Also, never lie on top of the duvet. It doesn't get cleaned anywhere near as often as the bed sheets do. Story 24. Don't be loud in the halls or ever. I have memories of being a kid and giggling with my sibling to quiet down while running to our room. If a kid can know it, so can anyone else in the world. Story 25. Leave a decent tip for the housekeeper. They do a difficult job for low wages, and they have access to your stuff. Be nice to them. I have received lovely thank you notes and extra goodies left in my room by leaving a decent tip. Story 26. I spend over 300 days a year in hotels. Here are my tips. 1. When arriving, if the main door is locked during the day, they may have problems. Stay elsewhere if you can. If not, park your vehicle as close to the door as possible. If the lobby and hallways are dirty, do the room and bed check before bringing your luggage in. A bed check consists of leaving the lights off, pulling the bed down from the headboard, exposing the top of the box spring, turning the table light on, and checking for bed bugs or signs of them. I always choose the top floor. I can't stand people walking around above me all night. On the top floor, I am courteous to the people below. When my kids travel, I expect them to follow these rules and respect that it is a business, not a playground. As others have said, put the do not disturb sign up immediately. I don't typically watch television, but if I do, I keep the volume low. I'll step outside my door to check if it feels loud. Breakfast etiquette should be common sense, but it often isn't. I wait my turn. Don't back your vehicle over the sidewalk, especially if you have a hitch. At a hotel in San Antonio, an older woman caught her shin on a hitch ball and fell hard. It put her in the hospital and ruined her trip. If my work truck is muddy or dirty, I park at the back of the parking lot. No one wants to walk through mud. Following the mud and dirt rule, don't wear muddy boots or clothes through the hotel. 10. I clean up after myself daily. Don't trash rooms. 11. Clean the grills after you use them. 12. I clean the filters of the air conditioning units if I'm going to be there for more than a few nights or if the room smells musty. 13. I carry a shower head for obvious reasons and a screwdriver to adjust the shower handle if the safety setting is too low. P.S. To the people who smoke, vape, or use marijuana in the bathroom, that smell travels to every room connected to the same vent. Also, if you smoke near air conditioning units, it travels into the room. Story 27. UV light, check for bed bugs, and make sure the room doesn't smell like smoke or dog urine. If it does, report it immediately to avoid a fee after your stay. Story 28. Do not let the bedspread near my body. Keep my shoes and belongings off the bed. Be considerate of other guests. Keep the television volume low, and be quiet when closing the door. Tip the housekeeper on the last day. Leave the room as tidy as possible. Story 29. Here's one I haven't seen mentioned here. When you get to your room for the first time, knock and check if anyone is there. Let me tell you a story. One time on a work trip, I checked into a hotel. I got to my room, opened the door, and lo and behold, an elderly man on the bed in his underwear watching television. The bed was positioned such that if you were lying on the bed, the door was facing straight ahead of you. So I got a full glimpse of this panicked and very much naked old guy, who let out a whimper of panic and confusion before I quickly closed the door and got out of there. Not a word got out of him. I think I threw a fading sorry in there as I was getting the heck out of there. Both of us are imprinted on each other forever, unfortunately. It doesn't have to be that way, though. Knock when you get to your room for the first time.